Hi, I'm Alicia Julia Wilson Takaoka. Welcome to this lecture on tools to evaluate inclusivity in businesses. Our learning objectives for this lecture are to explore some of the tools currently available to evaluate inclusivity in businesses, particularly in the context of the energy transition. We'll go over 5 specific tools in this lecture: the Energy Justice Workbook, the Just Energy Partnership, the UNOPS Guide for Inclusive Energy Infrastructure, the Energy Transition Toolkit, and the IEECP resources. These are all valuable resources and tools that businesses can apply to evaluate how inclusive their strategies, policies, and projects are, especially when they engage in the energy transition. Here you can see the timeline of the tools we will cover today. There are many more tools and frameworks in this landscape, but these are some of the most accessible and practical. In 2019, we saw the release of 2 important resources: the Energy Justice Workbook and the Energy Transition Toolkit. They can be used by municipalities, local governments, industry sectors to prioritize energy justice issues. They help defining what energy justice is, examining barriers, tools and best practices, and tips that enhance communities' ability to participate in the energy transition. In 2021, the Just Energy Partnership emerged as an important step forward. It represents an international and multi-country effort towards recognizing what a fair and just energy transition looks like and how we can partner together to achieve it. The last 2 resources we'll discuss are from 2024. The first is the UNOPS Guide for Inclusive Energy Infrastructure, which includes practical guidelines on how to solidify and reinforce infrastructure in an inclusive way. It also encourages users to acknowledge barriers and systemic issues that might hinder progress in the energy transition. At the end, we will discuss a set of resources that consist of several tools and practical guides aimed at businesses and consumers. The first tool we will explore is the Energy Justice Workbook. This is a practical instrument for evaluating your position in the energy justice process. It was developed by the Initiative for Energy Justice. The workbook includes a scorecard with a scoring system from 1 to 5 and covers different areas of the energy transition, including process, access, and decision-making. It allows users to take stock of where they stand and then better identify which tools they might need to proceed in the energy transition while maintaining fairness to marginalized and other impacted communities. The central priority here is about fair energy. Energy decisions should be fair and they should treat all people equally. If you use this workbook, you will see that it is quite broad. It includes many different stakeholders, and it includes broad categories of energy justice issues. The workbook also examines how well you listen to and involve marginalized and impacted communities in decision-making. It acknowledges that by listening to communities, especially those most affected, you should prioritize their voices and their perspective, and ensure that they are strongly represented in the decisions rather than overlooked, treated as an afterthought, or tokenized. In addition, there is a scorecard that functions as a checklist that helps to evaluate how inclusive your energy policy is. Our next resource is the Energy Transition Toolkit by the World Energy Council. This toolkit was developed to help governments, companies, and communities manage the energy transition in a flexible and collaborative way. It consists of 6 primary resources that are used to foster collaboration and raise awareness of key issues and strategies. The first is the World Energy Issues Monitor. This identifies the top concerns and priorities of energy leaders worldwide. The next is Innovation Insights, which shares lessons from emerging technologies and new business models. Third, we have the Dynamic Resilience Framework, which is used to measure resilience in energy systems. Fourth is the World Energy Trilemma Index, which measures how countries balance security, equity, and sustainability. Fifth, we have the Energy Scenarios, which map plausible energy futures to guide long-term strategy. And finally, there's the World Energy Pulse, which tracks crises and their impacts worldwide. Next, we have the Just Energy Transition Partnership. This initiative was established to provide funding and technical support to help countries, companies, and other stakeholders to replace coal with clean energy. South Africa was the first country to sign the transition partnership in 2021, followed by Indonesia and others. However, progress has been considerably slow. Political and financial hurdles have affected both inclusivity and the speed of implementation. The UNOPS Guide for Businesses is a specialized checklist that is based on different categories and criteria that help to embed inclusion into company practices, energy products, and workplace packages. These guidelines include some step-by-step frameworks to ensure equity in business decisions. They also provide clear guidance on which organizations to reach out to for collaboration and support. Finally, we will go over some of the resources from the Institute for European Energy and Climate Policy. These are a set of open access tools which are divided by subject or type, and you can make it, which makes it easy to find the tools that fit your specific needs. For example, under Policy and Planning Tools, we have the InPlan tool, the Integrated Planning Tool. It used to be a static resource, but now it has become more dynamic. It can guide you through how to focus your topics for climate action, whether on renewable energy, climate adaptation, sustainable mobility, or the basic InPlan checklist. Then, the tool also supports you in developing your own plan from setting up a planning process all the way through monitoring and evaluation. It gives tips for further reading and resources. Under Finance and Implementation Tools, there are resources that support budgeting and help you map out the purchase and life of different equipment needed for infrastructure to support with an inclusive energy transition. There are also tools focused on community and justice. One example is the Engage for Energy interactive tool, which is based on research and an assessment of 98 cases, interviews with experienced professionals and other stakeholders in order to make meaningful engagement in energy infrastructure projects. This tool is designed for energy sharing, consultation, empowerment, and allows the user to highlight their own examples of what can be a successful and meaningful transition. Finally, there are monitoring and evaluation tools, which include the EPA TEE, or the Evaluation into Practice to Achieve Targets for Energy Efficiency. This was an EU-funded project that ran from 2017 to 2019. From this consortium of EU partners, a collection of tools for energy evaluation was created. There are also an energy efficient platform that also links to other associated projects. In this video, we presented a high-level overview of 5 tools that are available to you. These resources offer toolkits, best practices, and practical guidance for different needs in the energy transition within any company or organization. We also looked at the main features and objectives of each tool and how they can support more inclusive, equitable, and effective energy transitions. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.